Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Caboose here, bringing you another gameplay commentary. Now, most likely in the background, what you're going to be seeing is some Black Ops 2 Zombies gameplay, whether it's Transit, Die Rise, or Nuketown. And the reason I really wouldn't know is because what I like to do with my commentaries is I kind of like to make the commentary before I record the gameplay. That way, if the gameplay is sort of coming to an end and I'm not nowhere near finished the commentary, I don't have to rush to the finish of the topic or quickly wrap up everything. So without further ado, the commentary topic today, I actually have two, and they are two real life stories that I had to go through, and these are probably two of just the most one of them is extremely crazy, and then one of them is just pretty gory. Not too gory. I mean, there's no Quentin Tarantino gory, but from life experiences, yeah, it's pretty gory. So I'll go with my crazy story first. So I believe I was in grade 2, and the school that I went to, basically during the lunchtime, we had this whole 1 hour thing where we walked about a kilometer around this big park that was right in front of the school. They did this for whatever reason to, I guess, keep everyone occupied for the full hour and 15 minutes that there is of lunch, which bothered me to hell because I just, when you want to go hanging out at the park with your friends, there's teachers monitoring places telling you, "Hey, go walk," and it bothered me a lot. Anyways, so there was this one park, and me and my friends were kind of messing around. I believe this was about in October, because I remember I had a jacket on, but it was still kind of sunny outside. So I believe it was October, around that time, or beginning of November. And me and my friends were all running around, having fun. And my friend, he went and he ran under the bridge, those little metal bridges with the holes in them that you usually see in a park. And he ran under it. So I went to follow him, and I was kind of running, we were just running and having fun and stuff. And I was short, okay? And this is where it gets crazy, and this is where I know that I made the mistake, and that's where I know that I was stupid to do what I did in this situation. I was short, so I decided that if I was running, and I was going to go run under the bridge, and I was like, I don't need a duck. I'm pretty sure I can make it under this without ducking. So I didn't duck, and I didn't tilt my head down so I can go under. I thought that I legitimately could make it under that bridge. But it turns out this bridge or whatever, it as soon as I was running towards it, it hit the very top of my head. And it was excruciating pain for that little moment, but I don't know what possessed me not to cry, but I held my head for a little bit, and I was like, "Oh, that hurts so much." And then I just kind of was rubbing it a little bit, and I was like, "Okay, all right, I think I can go. I think I can keep walking. I think I'm good." And now I'm walking, and halfway through, I felt sweat coming down my head, and I was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And I wiped my forehead, and I look at my hand, and there is blood all over my hand, and I am freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, what did I do? What happened to me? Where am I bleeding? I was in a different world. I didn't know what was happening, and I was just flipping out, and my friend came by, and then I put on my hat, and I just put it on, and then I was like, "Hey dude, man, I'm bleeding from my head, and I don't know what happened." And he's like, "Just follow me." And we literally finished the entire walk. There was about 3/4 of a kilometer, or I don't know if that sounds like a long, I don't know. There was a lot of a way to go. And we finished the entire walk with my head bleeding, God knows how. And I'm following this guy like he's actually going to bring me somewhere. He didn't understand what I was telling him. He thought, I just hurt my head, and he's like, just walk it off, I guess. Anyways, we ended up walking the whole way through. It was coming to the end of lunch. So I went to class, and I was telling my teacher, I was like, "Miss, I think I'm bleeding from my head." And I didn't realize at that time I had dry blood on the side of my forehead. And then she's like, I think you are. You should really go to the office. So she took a teacher to bring me to the office. I go to the office, and they look at my head, and they're like, your head's kind of split a little bit and at the very top. Not like, you could see my brain, but it was cut open a little. And I was shaking. I was shaking, and I was trying to act cool. And they gave me an ice pack and a tissue to put on my head. And I thought it was okay. My parents are flipping out at them when they come to the school. I go to the hospital, or not the hospital. I went to the doctor, to the family doctor. He gave me 3 stitches, and that was like just about the end of that, really. The freakiest part was that, like, when I just first wiped my hand over my forehead and I saw all the blood on my hand, that's probably the craziest moment of all that. It was the first time I ever really experienced excruciating pain and, just like a freaky situation like that to myself, I never really broken a bone or anything. But anyways, on to the next story. So, this story is not incredibly gory, but there was a lot of blood. Alright, so, here's the story. I'm on my computer, and I'm about 11, I think, 10 or 11 at this time, and my mother is asleep, and I'm on the computer, and my dad is outside. We just moved into a new house, so my dad is outside setting up the satellite dish so we can watch some TV and stuff like that. So he's setting it up, and when my dad's, when he's got like all his tools out and he's got like a ladder out and something, you're bound to hear a couple smashes and a couple booms and bangs, and so I heard it, and it was kind of loud. So I got up really quick, and I was like, is everything okay? I wasn't really flipping out or anything. And I see my dad walk inside with just a mangled finger. Like, his finger's bleeding like crazy. The skin down to the bone is just almost coming off. Blood's dripping everywhere. And he goes to his toolbox, and I swear to God, he said this out loud while my mom is flipping out, crying like crazy, going nuts. He goes into a toolbox, and he's looking for a tool. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I need to cut my finger off. And I was going ballistic. I didn't know what the hell. I was gonna look at it, clearly. When you're in that situation, you can't just like look away, and unless like you're like squeamish or something. I was like looking at it, and I couldn't keep my eye off it. But this is my dad. My dad is so concerned about staining the floor, he's taking paper towels and putting them on the ground so he doesn't stain the floor with his blood, while his finger is nearly falling off. And I'm about to cry. My mom's like, call the ambulance. My dad's like, no, don't call the ambulance. He calls our friends who took longer than an ambulance would have taken to get here. They get here. They bring him to the hospital while he's got like 40 paper towels wrapped around his finger. And at this point, I'm like, everything's going to be okay. My dad's not going to lose his finger. They're just going to stitch up the skin. It's all good. We go to the hospital a couple hours later because, retards at the hospital like, well, he's losing his finger. He's losing a lot of blood, but, we only have like 10 rooms. Why would we build more? That's just stupid. So my dad has to wait in the waiting room for God knows how long. Man, I mean, not that long. Obviously, they got to take care of that. Otherwise, he could lose a lot of blood and something seriously bad could happen. So, yeah, I mean, maybe like 20 minutes. But 20 minutes with paper towels wrapped around a bloody finger that's almost fallen off is pretty rough. So I'm thinking everything's okay. We go to the hospital later, and all I see is my dad with a cast around his, or not like a cast, like his hand wrapped, and he has like his arm is suspended so that like it's kind of like when you break your arm, so yeah, he's like that. And then I look at his hand, and he's missing that finger, and I'm like, okay, maybe they have to keep it in a position. And then he's talking to the nurse or whatever, and then he makes a joke with my uncle because my dad's name is Levent. So my uncle, the douche that he is, he said, we're walking out of the hospital, my mom's still crying. He's like, 9-figure Levent, and I don't know what to say, man. And my brother's like My brother's pissed off. My mom is just crying. She's sad. I don't even know what to think of the situation. And my uncle, just to bring light of the situation, I can understand that. He goes 9-finger Levant, and it's the funniest thing you'll ever hear, especially if you look at him in that situation. And now that you come back to it, you think everyone's all right. He's okay now. He's perfectly fine. He's got a stub there that's really weird, and but he's okay. He can still do everything perfectly fine. I'm glad it was nothing any more serious than that. So yeah, that was the situation really. And the nurse apparently asked him if he wanted to keep the finger, and that's the weirdest. That's super weird. Anyways, the aftermath of it was when he fell off the ladder, his wedding ring got caught on the satellite, and the wedding ring ended up just breaking, and it took like the bottom part of his skin. I don't know if you're squeamish, if this is gonna bother you. I'm sorry if it did. I'm really sorry, actually. But yeah, I'm gonna continue. If you're squeamish, click off the video. If you don't like hearing about blood or picturing it or anything, click off the video now. But we're about to wrap it up, I promise. So yeah, the wedding ring broke off and cut the skin off of his finger. So the wedding ring was mangled. It's not a wedding ring anymore. It's weird. It looks like a broken slinky of metal. And you know what? Out of it all, the grossest part was how he didn't want anybody to see his finger after they had to take the cast off and everything. So he put a little box over it, and my brother was sleeping next to him one night, and you can just see through the opening of the other end of the box, and she looked straight into it. And I remember her describing it to me, and me almost anyways, long story short, he lost his finger, and I split my head open at one point in my life. So I hope you enjoyed these real life stories. I actually have quite a few that I honestly want to tell you guys. So please comment below if you want to hear some more. I'm at Caboose. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later.